Hey guys, real quick, only 40% of our viewers are actually subscribed, so let's change that right now. Hit that subscribe button right below. It all starts tonight, Thursday night, New York Jets at the New England Patriots. Patriots favored by 12.5, and everything's changed in New England this season.
They're good now.
Now battling for a number 1 overall seed. However, they're battling a Jets team with 2 straight wins.
Oh, on a roll.
On a roll,
Yeah.
The Jets beating the Browns and the Bengals over the last couple weeks. Of course,
Powerhouses.
Yes. Of course, they got rid of Sauce Gardner, Quinnen Williams, missing some players. Didn't matter. Still beat the Browns.
Well, it turns out that was
Sunday.
the solution. All you need to do is to get rid of your best players.
The good player gone bump.
Yeah. The famous good player gone bump.
8-2 Patriots and the 2-7 Jets tonight in Foxborough.
Yeah. The Patriots have been really impressive this season. By the way, just another another boot on the grave of Bill Belichick's legacy. Things aren't going so well for him in college. Meanwhile, the Patriots have been rescued by not the Belichick coaching tree, Mike Vrabel.
Just a former player.
Just puts it back together again like it's nothing.
Yeah.
And everything's good. That can't be great for the legacy. But
Patriots now have 8 wins on the season, same number they had over the last 2 seasons combined.
yeah, and they look really good. And as we've said, every week there's a slightly different challenge that they're posed, whether it's, bad team that's a trap week, a legitimately good team, team that does something creative schematically, rain last week. And every time they answer the call and they get it done. Drake May looks fantastic. The receiving core looks pretty good, even though Kayshon Boutte's been missing. It doesn't look like an elite receiving core on paper, but it's certainly patched together and performing well enough. They've been kind of forced to use Travion Henderson a bit, and turns out he's really explosive and dangerous, and maybe you might want to tap into that at some point. But, yeah, everything's good in New England, and the only challenge here is you just don't screw it up against a division rival.
Yeah, and it's not just this week. If we look ahead, we know New England has had one of the easiest schedules, if not the easiest to this point. Jets this week. They come to Cincinnati off the mini bye next week, and then the Giants on a Monday night game, by the way. And so Jets, Bengals, Giants, combined wins of 7 over the next 3 weeks. So New England has a golden opportunity to be 11-2 heading into their late bye. They have a week 14 bye. And then it gets a little more challenging. The rematch with the Bills and then the Ravens. And then the Jets and Dolphins again. So I've gone through the whole schedule. So they're going to be heavily favored, I would say, in 5 out of their next 7 games, with the 2 big challenges being the Buffalo rematch at home and going to Baltimore. So they have an opportunity, if you don't slip up, opportunity for, we're talking number 1 seed, we're talking home field advantage at least, and a legitimate chance, obviously, to win the division. Actually, they're more favored at this point because of Buffalo's loss last week against Miami. So every game's huge for New England at this point. You mentioned Drake May throwing the ball well. Last week I thought I was impressed with, he missed some early throws, but he didn't take those negative plays, wasn't getting sacked like he had in previous weeks, and still made several big-time throws, maneuvering the pocket, bomb to Mac Hollins, the beautiful throw to Kyle Williams for the long touchdown. May continues to play well, and without Kayshon Boutte, who's been having a great season, he's banged up again. And so the other part of, what Drake May's been able to do, and it's a very inconsistent run game, right? It's, down to down, not very efficient. Travion had those 2 big long runs, though. I think that's something they're going to have to get going down the stretch here, is a little bit more, not so much balance, but, consistency on offense. You don't want to be sitting there in 3rd and long all the time. And I think Travion Henderson, if he could, it's not that he's going to rattle off a 50-yarder every single week, but he does have that big playability, and continuing to give him some carries I think should help this offense.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how much leaning on Travion Henderson helps the run game. He's clearly explosive, and I think there's value still, even if it's inconsistent, in having a guy that's explosive that can take it to the house if you get him a crease. Ross Tucker tweeted something like that last week, like, why don't we just get running backs that all run 4.3 flat, like these explosive, dynamic guys?
That's what I say every draft season.
Yeah. There was a time where it looked like that was the way the league was going, and then we pivoted back maybe a little bit towards just all-around running backs. But there was a stretch where, every guy at the top of, the PFF running back grades were, guys like Etienne. It was all these, smaller, scat back body types, but explosive players. They could all take a crease and go for a touchdown. Travion Henderson is that kind of player, and even if they're only leaning on him now because they have to, it might actually help the run game.
Other side of the ball, we see the Jets are coming off of a win in which they had the 2 special teams touchdowns.
Yeah.
They had like 30 net passing yards. They had 42 yards on a screen and then 12 other, gross passing yards, whatever it was.
You know the way you get like moral victories? That was a moral loss. It was a moral defeat, even though they won.
The pass game was terrible. I got another stat for you. So my point on that was this feels like a game where, remember the Jets almost upset the Bucs and then lost late because they had a blocked field goal for a touchdown. This feels like a game where the Jets they're gonna need something special from a special teams perspective. If they're gonna keep this close, if they're gonna pull the upset, they're gonna need something like that, or Justin Fields simply to play better. Fields has had, I would say, 2 good games this year. Steelers in week 1, and then the Bengals game when they made that comeback.
I was gonna say, and it's been a while.
Yeah.
So we're kind of.
It was a couple weeks ago, but it was like spread out a little bit.
Yeah, as much as the season is kind of spiraling for them, it does feel like we're due a good Fields game as opposed to a game where he gets, more sacks than yards or whatever.
And that's the key, right? There's so many games where he's getting sacked 5 times and has 9 completions. And I say so many games, like if there's one of those, that's a lot. That's just not a common NFL stat line.
And he has several.
He's got a couple of them. So New England, keep an eye on them blitzing. The Jets, when there's at least one or more off-ball blitzer, so any sort of linebacker, safety, you know what their yards per pass are?
I don't.
0.2, just 0.2 yards.
That's not a lot
per pass, and they're allowing 65% pressure rate, which is the worst in the NFL.
That's also pretty bad.
So blitz Fields, and make them beat you, and then you have Garrett Wilson banged up, and it's like, all right, to beat the blitz, you need a receiver that's going to get open quickly, that you're on the same page with, and I just don't think the Jets have that. So New England sealed the deal last week with a really nice blitz setup against Baker Mayfield. I would just keep an eye on their pressure packages tonight against Fields.
Yeah, you blitz them, you take away the actual threat of the pass, then all you got to do is worry about Fields being athletic and beating you with a scramble somewhere and just keep him bottled up and contained, or at least flush him somewhere that you feel good about. Just don't let him, run for 55 and score a touchdown off the back of the blitz.
The last thing, I think that'll just be a fun watch here. Gillette Stadium, obviously they had the 20-year run in New England. After Brady left, there was very little to cheer about, to the point when Bailey Zappi made his little run. That was like the most electric that place had been since the Brady era. Remember, Bailey Zappi just comes in on Monday Night Football and throws a touchdown, and the place was going nuts. I have a feeling it's gonna be electric in New England. It's a Jets game, even though they're over 10-point favorites. It'll be fun. I think it'll be a fun atmosphere with New England fans feeling good again for the first time in about 4 years, other than Bailey's.
They've had a long period of misery.
It's been rough
in the cellar, and now
Foxborough.
It's finally their time again to shine.
Just saying, from a broadcast perspective, I feel like you're gonna feel it. It's gonna come through.
It's really nice when you get to see a downtrodden franchise, finally enjoying some success.
My other prediction is you're gonna know where everybody goes to college, with Kirk and Al on the call.
Yeah. That's Kirk's MO. That's what he brings to the table. AI Kirk.
Anything else on Jets Patriots? Patriots by 12.5. Over under, by the way, 43.5 here by per FanDuel.
No, I guess the fact that it's a Thursday night game makes it slightly more interesting because weird results and games tend to get thrown up. Like, it seems almost impossible to envisage the Jets actually winning this game. The question just becomes, is New England's success enough to cover a 12.5-point line? But
so much weird stuff has happened
exactly.
on Thursday night.
Thursday night game plus the division game. Like, it's one of those games where you're like, there's no good reason why this would go the Jets' way, but games like that have happened already this season several times. So you're like, how would this go? One of the ways it would go is the inverse of what happened to the Jets last week, right? Instead of getting instead of getting those multiple, they would need that again, right? They would need multiple special teams and or defensive touchdowns in order to hang in a game that they otherwise have no business being in.
Yeah, and look, like I said, all year on Thursday Night Football, we had a banged up Niners team beat the Rams. We had the Bengals with Joe Flacco. Beat the Steelers. We had a lot of random. We had the Raiders, hang tough with the Broncos and only lose by 3. So anything can happen. We've had a lot of big lines on Thursday Night Football, and you would think. And I usually pick the favorite and lose. So you would think I would learn from that, but I haven't.
You would think you'd learn.
You would think. I'm not going to learn from anything. Where are you going to go with this one? Patriots by 12.5.
The only other thing, by the way, that could swing it would be crazy weather, and there doesn't appear to be any. So
that's unfortunate. It's weather season. So
it is. You got to. It's the time of the year where you have to at least check the forecast for every game, just in case what you're saying is completely implausible because there's going to be like a hurricane blowing.
Is there a wintry mix?
Right.
Oregon, Iowa had a really nice wintry mix last week. Really good.
Oh, Oregon against Iowa?
Oregon against a legendary Big Ten matchup.
I thought for a moment Oregon, Iowa was, Bismarck, North Dakota.
Like there was a Florida, Massachusetts.
North Dakota? One of the Dakotas.
Florida, Massachusetts is a place.
Yeah. Ridiculous name. Anyway.
This one's in Foxborough.
Yes. I'm going to go with the Patriots, and I'm going to go with them covering, even though it's a giant line.
All right. I'll also take the Patriots, as will 10-year-old Harry, who's got me by 2 games so far.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video.
Check the Mic is live Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss a video.
You heard the man. Subscribe.